Hi everyone, this is Jeannie Peters and I want to welcome you into my kitchen. Today's another edition of our Real Foods Culinary Boot Camp, and today we're going to talk about the power, the healing power of cultured and fermented foods. And today I'm going to show you specifically how you can discover how to make a great jar of a fermented sauerkraut, and we'll probably do one also with beets. And the purpose of this, and the reason why I want to introduce you to this, is because for any of you that have any kind of gut issues, if you have trouble digesting your foods, if you have upper GI problems, or if you notice that you just have a lot of gut inflammation after a meal, this could be a great addition to include into your diet. A couple of tablespoons of some kind of cultured fermented foods along with your meats, fish or poultry, or for those of you that are vegetarian, if you're having it with your tempeh, can really help with improving digestion. So I want to show you a little bit more about how to do it, and then we'll talk more about the benefits. In addition, you'll have all this information in the audio that we'll be doing as well. So there'll be a chance to go into more details about why this can be so powerful introducing into your diet. So a couple things I want to just review for today, what we're going to include. I've already started with processing up a lot of red cabbage, and earlier I used a head of green cabbage to get this one done. So let me just show you the ingredients you're going to need. So at least one head of green cabbage, a head of red cabbage. I'm using 2 beets, and these are yellow Chioggia beets, beautiful color. And I've got some red beets that I've already oh gosh, okay, let me figure out how to say this.
Pre-prepared.
Grated.
Shredded.
In addition to that, I've got a number of different spices. So what works really nicely with some of these sauerkrauts would be something like some caraway seeds, some juniper berries, dulse, nori. Any of the sea vegetables work really great. Fermentation of these are going to improve the amount of iodine that your body can receive. I've got some poppy seeds here. Dill, unless of course you're lucky like I am, I've got lots of dill and fennel growing in my garden. And so I just took a whole handful of this, and I'm going to chop up some of this as well. And then we're going to use a little bit of real sea salt. Okay. And then 2 other things that are going to be important for you. One is that I'm highly recommending Body Ecology's Culture Starter. Donna has developed this product. I think it's fantastic. I'll share a little bit more in the audio about how to receive this, how to get this. But one of these packages in her box will be enough to make 3 jars of the cultured vegetables. And there's even probably enough if you wanted to culture some milk. But we're not going to get into that today. We're just going to show how to culture the vegetables. So we'll need a packet of this. You'll need something to feed the cultures. So I'm using a little bit of organic raw agave sweetener. Pick this up from Trader Joe's, but there's lots of places to find it. And I'm going to start off right now with actually putting these starter into some warm water. I had some water that's about maybe 88 to 90 degrees. And I'm going to add a little bit of a little additional water here. So again, warm water, and you want the warm water just because that helps to awaken the cultures. And then to that, we're going to just stir this, and I'll add just probably what would be amount to 1/4 teaspoon of agave. So we're talking about very little, but just enough to awaken them up and to allow them to have something to grow. So let's just do that, and we'll put that aside because that's going to take about 20 minutes for that to start to let the cultures begin to bloom. All right, so now let's get started with what we're doing here. Get yourself a good grater. And like I said, I've already started grating a lot of these vegetables. So I'm taking right now my beets. I've got in that, there's some cabbage. And I have carrots in here. In fact, I'll just show you what I did so you can see. This was a combination of red beets, some carrots, and then these Chioggia beets, and they've been sitting for a few minutes, so they're starting to discolor. But don't worry about that because all of that's going to be going into our mix. And as it sits and ferments, over 2 to 3 days, you'll see the color will just start to just really perk up. It's beautiful. So let me go ahead and show you now. We've taken this, we've grated enough here. I also took some of the odd sizes, some of the odd pieces, and I put that into my blender. And to that I'm going to add a little bit of water. This is just cool water. And I'm going to take and just blend this up. Somehow I forgot the little piece on the top of my Vitamixer, so we're just going to... So it's kind of a slurry. And to that slurry I'm going to add my cultured mix here. So that was sitting for about 2 minutes, but we're going to just let it sit a little bit longer. And then I'm going to just take a clean jar and I'm going to just take all of these vegetables that we just grated up and just put them right into the jar. Pack it down as tightly as you can. Now, you know, I didn't add anything to this. This one actually had, I shouldn't say that I didn't add anything. I've got a little bit of juniper berries and some caraway seeds, which I'm just grinding up to release some of their flavor. So I'm going to put some of that in here. And I put what would be amount to about a tablespoon. And I'm going to put that on top. You can see all the colors and different textures and shapes. You don't really have to worry if you've got some odd pieces in there, because as it sits for the 3 or 4 days and ultimately maybe for a week or longer in your refrigerator, that'll all soften up. So I'm going to just pack this down, and then to that I'm going to put just a little bit of this slurry right on top here. Just let that, pack that down as much and give about an inch head space, because you're going to need some space. This is going to start to expand. All right, so let's just do that. Clean it off a little bit. There we go. So we've got one jar completed. This was just basically green cabbage, lots of dill, and a couple of juniper berries. And this one was a combination of mostly red cabbage, beets, some Chioggia beets, the yellow ones, some carrots, a little bit of caraway seeds, and some juniper berries. And I've got enough so I can continue to make another one. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take all of these beets that we grated. And this one I'm going to get a little bit more creative, so I'm going to put in, let's see, let's go ahead and take some of this. This is fennel. And fennel is wonderful for digestion, so I'm not measuring anything here. I took probably what would be amount to about 2 tablespoons. I'm slicing up even just the tops as well as the stems. It's going to give a great flavor. Remember that the probiotics are here to basically help pre-digest that. To that I'm going to throw in some caraway seeds, and I like to put in about what's going to amount to about a tablespoon. I'm going to put in maybe a little shake of dulse in here. And dulse is very rich in iodine, so it's wonderful for any of you that have thyroid issues. Again, as the dulse sits, it's going to continue to improve because it's pre-digesting. I'm going to put in some poppy seeds, what would amount to maybe about a half a tablespoon of poppy seeds. And let's go ahead and just grind up these caraway seeds. Put that in. Now I'm going to take my slurry. I'm going to go ahead and just mix all of that